Life as a dash, a philosophical exploration of existence and meaning. When we contemplate a gravestone, the dates that frame a person's life, birth and death, are separated by a simple dash. This unassuming symbol represents the entirety of a person's existence, encapsulating every moment, decision, and experience that occurred between those two dates. In this essay, we will explore the philosophical implications of viewing life as a dash, drawing on the thoughts of prominent philosophers to understand how we might make that dash as meaningful and enjoyable as possible. The dash as a metaphor for life's transience. The dash is a powerful metaphor for the brevity and transience of life. It serves as a reminder that our time on earth is limited and that we must make the most of it. This notion echoes the ancient philosophy of Stoicism, particularly in the teachings of Marcus Aurelius. In his Meditations, Aurelius reflects on the fleeting nature of life, urging us to live in accordance with virtue and reason. He writes, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." For the Stoics, the brevity of life is not something to fear, but rather a motivation to live a life of purpose and integrity. The dash, then, becomes a symbol of the urgency to live well, to align our actions with our values, and to make every moment count. Existentialism, creating meaning in the dash. Existentialist philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir offer another perspective on the dash, emphasizing the importance of personal responsibility in creating meaning in our lives. Sartre famously declared that existence precedes essence, meaning that we are not born with a predetermined purpose. Rather, we create our own essence through our actions and choices. In this view, the dash is not just a marker of time, but a space in which we actively construct our identity and purpose. De Beauvoir expands on this idea in her work The Ethics of Ambiguity, where she argues that life's meaning is found in the projects and relationships we choose to pursue. The dash, then, is filled with the pursuits that reflect our authentic selves, and it is up to each individual to ensure that their dash is not wasted on inauthentic or meaningless endeavors. This philosophy challenges us to take ownership of our lives, to live deliberately, and to fill our dash with activities that resonate with our deepest values and aspirations. Utilitarianism, maximizing happiness in the dash. From a utilitarian perspective, the dash represents the potential to maximize happiness and minimize suffering. Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill, the founders of utilitarianism, argued that the moral worth of our actions is determined by their consequences, particularly in terms of the happiness they produce. Bentham's greatest happiness principle suggests that the best way to fill the dash is by performing actions that bring about the greatest amount of happiness for the greatest number of people. Mill, in his work Utilitarianism, distinguishes between higher and lower pleasures, advocating for a life that prioritizes intellectual and moral satisfaction over mere physical gratification. For Mill, a well-lived dash is one in which we pursue not just our own happiness, but also contribute to the well-being of others, thereby creating a ripple effect of positive impact. This approach encourages us to consider the broader implications of our actions, to strive for a balance between personal fulfillment and social responsibility, and to ensure that our dash is filled with actions that promote the collective good. Nihilism, confronting the void in the dash. In contrast to the constructive approaches of existentialism and utilitarianism, nihilism presents a more challenging view of the dash. Friedrich Nietzsche is often associated with this philosophy, particularly in his declaration of the death of God and the subsequent collapse of traditional values. In a nihilistic framework, the dash may seem devoid of inherent meaning, as life itself is seen as ultimately purposeless. However, Nietzsche's response to this void is not one of despair but of affirmation. He introduces the concept of the Übermensch, the individual who transcends the meaninglessness of existence by creating their own values and purpose. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche encourages us to embrace life's challenges and uncertainties, to fill our dash with acts of creative self-overcoming, and to live as though each moment is eternally significant. Nietzsche's idea of eternal recurrence further challenges us to live our lives in such a way that we would be willing to relive them over and over again. This thought experiment pushes us to consider the quality of our dash and whether it reflects a life we would choose to live repeatedly. It is a call to fill our dash with choices and actions that we can wholeheartedly affirm, even in the face of life's inherent absurdity. Absurdism, embracing the absurdity of the dash. Albert Camus, a philosopher associated with both existentialism and absurdism, offers yet another perspective on the dash. In his essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, Camus explores the concept of the absurd, the conflict between our desire for meaning and the universe's apparent indifference to our existence. The myth of Sisyphus, who is condemned to eternally push a boulder up a hill only for it to roll back down each time, symbolizes the human condition of endless struggle without ultimate purpose. Yet, Camus does not advocate for resignation or despair. Instead, he proposes that we must imagine Sisyphus as happy, finding meaning in the struggle itself. For Camus, the dash is a space in which we can choose to embrace life's absurdity, to live fully in spite of the lack of inherent meaning, and to find joy in the very act of living. The dash, in this view, is an opportunity to rebel against the absurd by living with passion, creativity, and a deep appreciation for the fleeting moments of existence. Conclusion: crafting a meaningful dash. The dash on a gravestone is a powerful symbol of life's transience and the responsibility we have to make the most of our time. Whether we view life through the lens of Stoicism, existentialism, utilitarianism, nihilism, or absurdism, the common thread is the recognition that we are the architects of our own existence. The dash is not merely a marker of time, but a reflection of the choices we make, the values we uphold, and the impact we leave behind. To make the dash meaningful, we must live with intention, embracing the challenges and opportunities that life presents. We must fill our dash with actions that reflect our deepest values, contribute to the well-being of others, and affirm the unique and unrepeatable nature of our existence. In the end, it is not the dates on the gravestone that matter, but the dash in between. The story of our lives, written in the moments we choose to live fully, authentically, and joyfully.